Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Don't you get it? I'm giving you the greeting. Peace be upon you. When I say that to you, you're supposed to say, Wa alaikum assalam. I don't hear you. Wa alaikum assalam. You better get used to it. It's 647. This is the straight dope. I don't think you know what's going on yet. All right, I'll clue you in. I'll even do it with tapas. You get 2 tapas today, okay? Let's see if you get it. Saudi Crown Prince pledges to raise U.S. investment to nearly $1 trillion. Okay? Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman told President Donald Trump on Tuesday that Saudi Arabia will be upping its investment commitment to the U.S. to nearly $1 trillion, up from $600 billion pledged in May. Trump received the Crown Prince on the South Lawn with plenty of pomp, culminating in 3 F-35s and 3 F-15s flying over the White House. After giving the Crown Prince a tour of the Presidential Walk of Fame along the West Wing colonnade and a photo opportunity, they held a bilateral meeting before reporters in the Oval Office. I believe, Mr. President, today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, and real opportunity by details in many areas, the Crown Prince said. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas of technology and artificial intelligence and materials, magnets, etc., that will create a lot of domestic opportunities, he added. Trump, who moments earlier said he would like to see the Saudi investment rise to $1 trillion and joked he would need to work on the Crown Prince, was pleased. I appreciate that, Prince. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done. And in all fairness, if you didn't see potential in the U.S., you wouldn't be doing it. You don't want to lose money, Trump said. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done. We sure are. We're doing numbers nobody's ever done. Maybe the EU's done them. Let me tune you up on this. Assalamu alaikum. In the last 48 months in Texas, guess how many mosques have been opened? 24 mosques in one state in 48 months. That's 2 mosques a month. Okay? NYPD yesterday had an exhibition open to the public to show women how to properly put on a hijab, right? The traditional head covering of Muslim women, right? Yep. I'm in the DMV today in Florida, and there's 6 guys in military garb, and everything on them is in Arabic. I'm going, how can that be? How can there be 6 guys in military uniforms from an Arabian country over here getting their driver's licenses? That's what was going on. Then I remembered, oh, right. I bet these guys are from Qatar, and they're getting oriented at MacDill, and then they're going to send them way out west to a base that Trump is saying that Qatar is going to operate in our country. So when I go and sit down, there were still a couple guys being processed. I said, see those guys in the uniforms? Yeah. I said, are they from Qatar? He looks at me and goes, yeah, they are. How'd you know that? I said, well, because I read and I know that Qatar is going to be operating a base out west and people aren't real happy about it. They must be getting their orientation at MacDill. And she goes, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. They're getting their driver's licenses so they can move around. All I can say, folks, is you know the fable about the frog that you put in a pot of water and turn the heat on, and the frog sits there and continues to get more and more oriented to the water until he boils to death. Okay? Assalamu alaikum. We better be paying attention, folks. Okay, take two. The Chiefs, the NFL football team, right? Kansas City Chiefs heiress Gracie Hunt supports the alternate Super Bowl halftime show over Bad Bunny. We were one of the first to tell you about Bad Bunny because I hate the NFL ownership and I hate the fact that they're like this to their audience and what their audience believes in and what their audience supports. So normally the Chiefs heiress would be the chief airhead, but in this case, she's a substantive woman who knows what the score is. Gracie Hunt, the daughter of Kansas City Chiefs owner Clark Hunt, is not very supportive of the NFL's decision to hire anti-Trump rapper Bad Bunny for next year's big Super Bowl halftime show, coming to you this February. Hunt appeared on Fox News, The Will Cain Show, this week and admitted that she is most definitely looking forward to watching the Turning Point USA alternate halftime show next year, the New York Post reports. I really respect Erica for all that she's done, especially with creating a halftime show for America. You know, children are young, they're impressionable, young women, young men, and everyone. They just need someone to look up to, the 26-year-old said. As someone who doesn't yet have young children of my own, I can't imagine how difficult that is to navigate. But I think she's done an incredible job leading Turning Point, leading young women, and really leading an alternative for young Americans. Football's becoming the world sport, but at its heart, it's America's sport built around family. All right. I don't agree with all that she said, but I think her heart's in the right place. She's young. Eventually, she'll get on to 647 and she'll find out what the score is. All right, take two. Senator Mike Lee introduces a bill to audit the Fed's gold reserves. Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, this is a good guy, is introducing the Gold Reserve Transparency Act to institute the first audit of the United States government gold holdings in over half a century. It's actually more than that. The last audit was in 1953. So listen up, folks. There's supposed to be 147.3 million troy ounces of gold in Fort Knox in Kentucky. That's 5,000 tons of gold. And that's supposed to be only half of the gold in our treasury. Okay? And that half should be worth about 290 billion. The bill would open Fort Knox to an audit everything held by the Federal Reserve, making the results public to the American people, a proposal made by Trump in February, as long as there's no Epstein emails in there. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there because maybe somebody stole the gold, tons of gold. I don't like it when Trump talks that way because he normally doesn't mouth off unless he already has the receipts. And it would be exactly like our government in 1973 to decide, hey, we're on the petrodollar. Let's steal all the gold. The dupes don't need to know about it. Lee's bill delivers on Trump's promise by instituting a long-needed audit. For over half a century, there has not been a comprehensive audit of America's gold reserves, Lee said. Americans should know whether their literal national treasure is safe and accurately accounted for. That means passing the Gold Reserve Transparency Act, opening Fort Knox, U.S. Mint facilities, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to an audit, and then making the results public. Auditing the Fed became a popular battle cry for former Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul, who was delighted to see Lee's bill introduced. The Federal Reserve and Treasury should not be permitted to operate in secrecy, especially when it comes to the most important monetary asset on the planet, Paul said in a statement. Restoring trust as to America's gold holdings is more important than ever when foreign central banks are scrambling to stockpile gold at incredible rates. The U.S. Treasury has long claimed that an audit of the nation's gold reserve is performed annually. Yeah, right. That Jerome's doing that? That's BS. All right, let's see what happens. Again, this is a shiny object, okay? They don't want to do this. They've already gamed this out, and we'll see just how much truth we're allowed to handle in this whole thing, all right? And there are conspiracy theories galore, and not the least of which was I saw all kinds of gold bullion transfer activity going in the direction of Fort Knox in reports and trading newsletters about trading gold and silver, okay, which is something that I'm interested in. So I tried to find that information now, can't find it. All right, take 3. Iran suffers flash flooding after cloud seeding to combat drought, okay? I don't think you need to know about Iran's drought problem, but you do need to understand that for years, people were screaming about the chemtrails in the sky and how it was affecting our health. And we were told over and over as people who cannot handle the truth, we don't know anything about chemtrails, right? There are no chemtrails. And the super hurricane Helene, right? Helene was a Cat 4 roaring across Florida, spawning hundreds of tornadoes. But that wasn't the major clue. It was when Helene was forming out in the Gulf, and in less than 24 hours, it went from a tropical depression to a Cat 6, an unheard of category. Okay? How does it do that? Well, it does it with help from chemicals and metals that the Department of Defense was sprinkling all over it and turning it into a roidicane. And if you remember, it roared across Florida and then went up to North Carolina and wiped out all those mountain towns. So that's why it's important. Iran made an all-out effort last week to combat severe drought by seeding the clouds with chemicals to produce rain. The technique appears to have worked all too well. See what I'm saying? As heavy rainfall caused flooding in portions of western Iran on Monday. Iran grapples with chronic water shortages in the best of years, but the past 6 years have been among the worst, with chronic drought conditions so severe that partially evacuating the capital city of Tehran was on the table because nobody could get water. Writing at Forbes on Sunday, environmental scientist Kaveh Madani, that's not a relative of Mamdani the Great, this is Madani, of the UN University Institute for Water, Environment, and Health, that means he believes all the things Mamdani does, whose research has been focused on Iran's water bankruptcy, argued that poor water management by the Iranian country has greatly exacerbated the problem. Madani further faulted the regime in Tehran for being too preoccupied with its resistance economy propaganda, perpetually putting off necessary reforms and blaming all of its problems on U.S. sanctions. The government constantly lies to its subjects, sounds familiar, about water availability and conceals data. Get that too. Thwarting citizens who might have taken private measures to ameliorate the drought. Iranian officials mutter conspiracy theories about cloud theft and weather manipulation instead of dealing with their problems. All right? There's a lot of our problems in that story too. All right, take four. Toyota CEO, full MAGA at Japan NASCAR event. Did you hear about this? I didn't. Here we go. Japan had a major NASCAR event to kick off their first investment in expanding their manufacturing inside the United States because of Trump's tariffs. And they've promised to invest $10 billion. And this is the first chunk. It's $912 billion. And the CEO of Toyota is Akio Toyoda with a D, right? Not the same name as Toyota. Akio Toyoda, CEO of the Japanese car manufacturer Toyota, went full Make America Great Again at a NASCAR event in Japan, donning a red hat and a Trump Vance shirt. See, these are the kind of leaders internationally I'm interested in. Toyota donned the pro-Trump garb on Sunday, just 2 days ahead of his company's unveiling a $912 million investment in U.S. manufacturing on Tuesday, per Automotive News. With a toothy grin, Make America Great Again hat, and the Trump Vance t-shirt, Akio Toyota hosted a star-spangled barbecued all-American NASCAR spectacle at Fuji Speedway in a new charm offensive aimed not only at motorsports fans and diplomats, but possibly also U.S. tariffs, I guess. Against the backdrop of global trade tensions, the Toyota Motor Corporation chairman billed the extravaganza, held in conjunction with an endurance race at the Toyota-owned circuit, as an international celebration of car culture and proof of Japan's love for Motown metal. U.S. Ambassador George Glass accompanied the charismatic Toyota frontman at the November 16th event, which showcased a demonstration run of 6 NASCAR machines specially shipped over for the occasion, with a clutch of star drivers to wow the American flag-waving crowd. Prior to the event, Toyota said that he understands that countries use tariffs to protect certain industries, but cautioned business leaders to remember consumers. I'm not here to argue whether tariffs are good or bad. Every national leader wants to protect their own auto industry, Toyota said. We are exploring ways to make tariffs a winner for everyone. The people we want most to be winners are our customers. This guy's good. Okay, take 5. This is a You Can't Handle the Truth, YCHTT pop quiz. Are you ready? Put your thinking caps on. Whoa, GOP Rep. Anna Paulina Luna reveals the dirty backroom deal that led House to voting against censoring Democrat Representative Stacey Plaskitt for colluding with Epstein. All right, this is the story. Stacey's on Capitol Hill at a hearing about Trump, and Epstein is coaching her by text right before she speaks on how she can create the most damage for Trump. And we're supposed to believe she doesn't have any kind of relationship with him. She's the rep from the Virgin Islands, and he owns his own island right in the midst of all that. Yeah, there's nothing going on there. Let's read. Anna Paulina Luna blew them all out of the water. Gotta love this girl. She speaks it. They hate her. She's a veteran. She doesn't give a damn. A Democrat got away with colluding with one of the most notorious pedophiles in American history, thanks to some good old-fashioned backroom politics. Who's doing this? Colin Linebarger. All right. I think this was the Gateway Pundit. Yeah. All right. Great. If you don't go there, you should go there. Gateway Pundit. Great coverage. As the Gateway Pundit reported, the House of Representatives on Tuesday evening voted against censoring Rep. Stacey Plaskitt, Democrat, Virgin Islands, over her collusion with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 congressional hearing. He's coaching her all the way up to the point that she steps in front of the mic. Earlier Tuesday, the House voted to advance the measure to censure Plaskitt and remove her from the House Intelligence Committee. Then later that evening, the House voted 214 to 209 against censoring Plaskitt. You can't handle the truth, remember. Every Democrat voted against the censure, while 3 Republicans voted present, and 3 other GOP lawmakers joined the Democrats. Nasty backroom deal. Following the vote, Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, Republican from Florida, exposed the nasty backroom deal cut by House leadership on both sides to ensure the vote would fail. It turns out GOP leadership was desperate to avoid having Rep. Corey Mills, another Republican from Florida, face not only a censure vote of his own, but also an ethics investigation, right? Mills is a war hero, veteran, and he apparently went off the deep end for some beauty queen. Mills is facing a restraining order for allegedly threatening to circulate explicit videos of his former girlfriend, Lindsay Langston, right? She is Miss United States 2024. Langston claimed in a petition filed in August that NBC News obtained that after they broke up, Mills said he would blackmail her by using nude images and videos. He also allegedly said he would physically harm anyone she dated. Corey continued to message me on Instagram accounts I run after blocking him and asking him to not contact me. The messages progressively got more threatening over time, wrote Langston, a Republican state committee woman and Miss United States 2024. A judge granted her request last month. Who knows what the truth of all this is? I mean, Corey is one of my favorites. I can't believe he went off like this, but I also don't believe she would just make all this up. So we need to get to the truth. Let's get both of them in an interview with Tucker or something, you know? They won't do it. All right, take 6. Advanced reprobate mind syndrome. This is the first time we've had twins, right? We're looking in all directions for answers on this. And this, we had to go all the way to Grunewald, Germany. That means green world. It must be a beautiful place where they lived in the past tense. Entertainment duo twins Alice and Ellen Kessler die by assisted suicide at 89 together. Wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together. That's the kind of stuff they did. They were showgirls, right? Entertainment duo and twins Alice and Ellen Kessler died on Monday at the age of 89 via assisted suicide at their home in Grunewald, Germany. The Kessler twins, who rose to fame in the 1950s, contacted the German Society for Humane Dying. Where'd they come up with that great name? More than a year ago, the organization told CNN. On Tuesday, German police confirmed to the outlet that there was a deployment yesterday. A deployment. Don't you love the left and how they use language? It's a deployment. We didn't go there and murder those 2 people by their request. We didn't step in on God with the whole thing, right? The hairs on your head are numbered. These people don't believe in any of that stuff. Listen, these chicks were on the Ed Sullivan Show. They were the first showgirls ever to be shown on Italian TV. They were huge over in Italy. They both posed nude together for Playboy Italy. You know, they did it all over there, but I don't remember them. The decisive factor is likely to have been the desire to die together on a specific date. Their desire to die was well considered, long-standing, and free from any psychiatric crisis. Wetzel, the head of the German Society for Human Dying. The Germans, they got so imagination with these names of companies. All right. Last year, during an interview with the Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera, the twins were told, "You said in the past that if one of you resorted to euthanasia, the other would too. Is that still the case? Our desire is to go away together on the same day." And my desire in doing advanced reprobate mind research, research of the broken minded, is why in our culture globally, people want to kill themselves. Number one cause of death of teenagers in the United States, suicide. Canadians are opting for euthanasia rather than go through their wonderful socialist health system. Why are people choosing this? I don't know. Okay. My only interest is in your choices. I don't want you to ever choose euthanasia. I do want you to like us. I do want you to ring the bell when you go there. I want you to make comments. I want you to push us out to your networks, right? Because you definitely don't get stories like this anywhere else. And you get the interpretation of a barely cogent individual. It's at least a spectacle. All right. But here's what I do that no other news outlet does, and that is I ask the omniscient God of the universe, the almighty God, who every day shows me unbelievable stuff. And I'm not even asking half the time, and he just keeps showing me his face. And so I can ask him, and he will bless all of you. He'll reach out his arms over you. It's Glide Slope Thursday. You know what that means, right? You got a yoke in your hands. You got to push that thing forward until the nose starts to go down. You got to pick your glide slope that'll take you all the way over Friday and right out through the weekend. And the way that happens best is that God will bless you. God bless you. Thank you for being here. And God willing, I'll see you for Friday. Take care.